Peygamberimizin yanına da giriyorlardı münafıklar. Oturuyorlar. Yani titizlikle dinliyorlar peygamberi. Her yerde yanında olmak istiyorlar.
The hypocrites, they also try to approach Prophet Muhammad, and they sat next to him, and they listened to him very carefully. They always wanted to be next to him everywhere he went. But the look in their eyes was disgusting, and the way they talked to him, it was disrespectful. But they claimed that they loved Prophet Muhammad dearly. They were gathering intelligence against Prophet Muhammad to give them to the pagans of the Mecca. They never wanted to leave his side until the midnight maybe. And when he wanted to leave his side, they didn't want to be seen that they were leaving. For example, they entered slyly and they exited slyly. God says in a verse, they leave your sight by trying to conceal themselves. That's how they entered his presence too. Prophet Muhammad was talking to crowds, and of course he wasn't able to see everyone. For example, they very cunningly, they very slyly came in and sat down, and after they gathered the intelligence, they would slither just like a snake and exit the room without being seen. God refers this, draws attention to their character, that character typical to the spies. And their arrogance, their brazen attitude, disrespectful attitude was very obvious in their talk, in their speeches. They are warned in the Quran. For example, some of them were hypocrites, some of them had problems in their hearts, some of them were very crude. They were talking to Prophet Muhammad in a very hostile manner, like they were arguing with him. They were very disrespectful. God says that, lower your voices, be very respectful when you are talking to Prophet Muhammad. This is what God says in the Quran. For example, they just barged into the house of Prophet Muhammad without asking for leave. They just wanted to harm Prophet Muhammad, most of them. They wanted to harm his wives too. That's why God says that the wives of the Prophet Muhammad should talk to a strange man from behind a veil. And some of his wives were actually, they were gathering intelligence too. They grouped amongst themselves as an opposition group that to oppose Prophet Muhammad, to go against Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad, for example, told one of his wives, I'm giving you information, but do not tell the others. Actually, Prophet Muhammad did it deliberately to find out if she was loyal or not. And later, when she found out that Prophet Muhammad knew, she said, how did you know? And of course he's a prophet, of course he would know. The wives of Prophet Muhammad, you know, all of them, they decided to leave him together. And then God sent a verse. God says that if you want the beauty of this life, then he will divorce you kindly. But if you want God and the hereafter, be patient. This is what God explains in the Quran. This is a loose translation, because marriage should be done for God's sake, not for this world. And the ladies ponder a while, and they later regret and give up on the idea. And except for one wife, all of them, they decide to stay with him. But even thinking about it is horrible. How can you think about it? Isn't it very obvious? You are married to the most beautiful, most amazing person. God calls Prophet Muhammad Habibullah, my Habib, and I created the universe for you. And you are pondering, you are thinking, considering leaving him. He's a prophet. Who are you to consider leaving him? How can you even have such thoughts? It is horrible. May God forgive their sins. It's horrible. Tahrim Surah is about this incident, and God is threatening the wives of Prophet Muhammad. because of their behavior. The hypocrites hated Prophet Muhammad. For example, when they entered the masjid, they would look at him so abhorrently, with so much hatred in their eyes. You dog, why are you coming then? He came to gather intelligence, but if you ask him, he will say that he loved him very much. But they just came for intelligence. The pagans of Mecca and many other groups from Christians, from Jews, there were both the lovers of Prophet Muhammad and also some of them didn't like him, hated him. So some people just tried to gather intelligence about him, against him.
Münafıklar sana geldiklerinde biz gerçekten şehadet ederiz ki sen kesin olarak Allah'ın elçisisin dediler. Allah da bilir ki sen elbette onun elçisisin. Allah münafıkların yalan söylediklerine şahitlik etmez.
In one verse, God says, I secret vision God from the accursed Satan. When the hypocrites come to you, they say that we swear that you are the messenger of God. God knows that you are his messenger. God knows that hypocrites are lying. They're just trying to curry favor with him. They are just trying to brown nose him. They say that we love you so much, you are very intelligent, you are very successful. Actually, in their hearts, they feel the opposite. The more the Prophet Muhammad had triumphed over the unbelievers, they got hurt. But outside, they didn't say that. They said that, congratulations, you are a very good person. But actually, every achievement Prophet Muhammad had, it just hurt them. For example, now we are defeating the British secret state. The hypocrites are hurting so much.
İçinizden onlara haber taşıyanlar vardır.
İşte muhbirlik, istihbarat, yani hak bir davada eğer başarılı bir İslami
You could please repeat that verse. I seek refuge in God from the accursed Satan. Amongst you, there are some people who gather intelligence and take intelligence to your enemies. If there's a group that is working for God's sake, the Satan always installs spies amongst that group, because they defeat the unbelievers, and the unbelievers, the Satan's side, they will want to defend themselves. God says that amongst you there are spies gathering intelligence against you. This is for all the Muslims of all the times or throughout the history, and of course this is true for Mehdi's group too. They are doing it with a satanic, with an evil instinct. They have all this crazy connection with Satan, and they think that gathering intelligence, that intelligence is holy for Satan. They almost worship the Satan. The psychopathic actions, it just makes them excited. But the more this belief is crushed, they hurt. These people get hurt so much, feel so much hurt. But of course, outside, they put up a show of loving you so much, loving the believers so much. For example, they go to Prophet Muhammad and say that you are the messenger of God, we love you so much and we are loyal to you. But in their hearts, they hated him and they sought ways to harm him. God says that they will love it if some bad things happen to you. So they will try to make snide remarks, they will try to cause tension, they will try to cause troubles, they will try to cause disturbance. This is what happened in the time of Prophet Muhammad, in the time of Prophet Moses. For example, just out of blue, in the time of Prophet Moses, this hypocrite said that he will build a gold statue of a cow. Why? What's the reason? And the people there, they just followed him. He could manipulate all those people there.
Kendilerinden hoşnut olmanız için size yemin ederler. Siz onlardan hoşnut olsanız bile Allah onlardan hoşnut değildir.
Bak Allah diyor ki Cenab-ı Allah kinlerini hiç ortaya çıkarmayacağını sandı.
I seek refuge in God from the accursed Satan. They will swear that you will be happy with them, but even if you are happy with them, God is not happy with them. God says that they think that God will not reveal their grudge and hatred. They are full of hatred all the time. They always go around with this evil face. They have this evil face.
Çok iyiyim.
They will try to
Sen
disturb
geliyor
the
buraya.
Muslims with that evil face,
Ayet sırf yüzündeki ifade tabi gözlerindeki o pis ifade.
that disgusting, evil
Neredeyse
expression on
seni
their
gözleriyle
faces
devireceklerdi diyor.
gives them
Ama
away
gözlerin hain bakışını bilir diyor.
most of the time.
Münafığın
And with that
hiçbir
evil
şey
face, they
yapamazsa
try to
en
disturb.
zayıf silahı
They try to
budur
disturb the
Allah'a bile
believers.
karşı.
God
Pis
says that
bakışlarıyla zarar
they
vermeye
will
çalışır. Böyle
try to
böyle
hurt you with
yahut
the look in
nefret
their
belirler,
eyes.
yahut yüzüne bir hayvan
The
ifadesi verir, yani
hypocrites,
böyle
their
hoşnutsuz,
weakest weapon
rahatsız,
is the evil look
pislik
in
bir
their
ifade verir.
eyes.
Veyahut saldırgan bir
They will
ifade
just
verir.
look at you with
Peygamberimizin
hateful
sözüne
eyes,
giriş şekilleri de bu şekilde.
with a
Münafığın
blank
bir yöntemi.
expression.
Yahut sivri dilleriyle diyor sizi incitirler. Yani pislik yapar. Hiç
Or
durduk
they
yere
will have
bakarsın,
a
bir
hostile
oyun
expression
çıkar, bir
in their
ahlaksız
eyes.
bir yerden bir laf sokar, bir şey yapar.
That's a
Peygamberi böyle
method
rahatsız
that the
etmeye
hypocrites
çalışıyor Allah o
use.
zaman.
Or they will
Ayette de
try to
açık
make snide
Peygamberimizin
remarks. They will
münafıkların
make you
rahatsız
try to
etmesine
make you
karşı
uncomfortable.
Hazreti Musa'yı incitenler gibi olmayın diyor Allah. Sivri dilleriyle sizi incitmek isterler. Pislik çünkü. Yüzüyle, sesiyle, diliyle rahatsız etmek ister. Şeytan diyor ya Cenab-ı ayette. Sizi atlılarıyla,
God says in a verse that
sarsıntıya
do
uğratmak
not be
ister.
like those that hurt Prophet
Yani
Moses with
yaygaralar
their
toplar
sharp
böyle.
tongues,
Bağırır,
because
çağırır,
they
pislik
try to
yapar.
do that with their
Rezillik
faces, with the
yapar.
look in their eyes, with their talks.
Müslümana
God says that the
karşı
Satan will try to
casus
attack you with
ruhunu
everything he
ayaklandırır.
has.
Muhbir olduğunu hissettiren bir tavır içinde olur.
They will
Veyahut
make a
münafıklarla
scene, they
işbirliği
will try to
yapacağını
cause
hissettirir.
discomfort.
Peygamberimiz de o yüzden bunlara karşı çok dikkatliydi.
They will try
Hayati
to
ilmi.
spy on
Tabii
believers.
hafif tedbirler münafıkların
Or
ileride çok azmasına
that's
sebep
why
olur.
Prophet Muhammad was very
Hemen
cautious of
Hazreti
them.
Osman'ı şehit ettiler.
He was very
Hazreti
wary
Ömer'i
of
şehit
them.
ettiler. Hazreti Ali'yi şehit ettiler. 12 imamı şehit ettiler. Münafığı
But of
en
course,
baştan
slight measures will not help
durdurmak gerekiyor.
stop the hypocrites. For example, as soon as Prophet Muhammad passed away, they martyred Hazret Osman, Hazret Ali, the 12 imams. So it is important to nip it in the bud, to stop it in the beginning.
Müslümanız. Küfürden nefret ederiz biz. Yani küfür bir şey, küfür olan mesela zalimlikten, gaddarlıktan, kötülükten nefret ederiz. Hiç hoşlanmayız.
The
Karşıyız yani.
hypocrites, when they see the believers, they tell the believers that they are believers. They say that thank God, we are Muslims. They say that we are against the disbelief. But when they are alone with their satans, with their masters,
Münafıkların sözleri gerçekten çirkin ve pis olur. Yani saygısızdırlar. Konuşma adabını bilmez münafıklar. Mesela peygamberin sözünün üstüne yükseltmeyin sesini diyor ya. Mesela peygamber konuşuyor birden konuşuyor.
usually the hypocrites, they always talk in a very disrespectful manner.
Oradan da anlaşılır. Yani
They don't know how to respect people, how to be kind. For example, God
nezaketsizliğiyle
says that to lower your voice when you are talking to Prophet Muhammad. For example, they interrupt the words, they interrupt Prophet Muhammad.
Sözünüzü onun üstüne yükseltmeyin. Anlamı odur aynı zamanda. Bağıra çağıra konuşuyor.
The way they are disrespectful also is a clear indication that they have problems in their hearts. Prophet is talking. How can you interrupt him?
Şeytan Allah'ın. Eğer biz
And also they talk to him with a loud voice. They interrupt him.
bu ne demek?
They cut through his
Yani
sentences.
çok net tespit
How can they act like that? God says in another verse, I seek refuge in them from the accursed Satan. If I want, I can show you them. It means that they are concealed. You cannot always identify them or understand them.
Andolsun sen onları sözlerin söyleniş tarzından
If
da
I want, I will make them known to you, and you will see them. You will recognize them from their faces.
şeytan gibi uslubu. Yani uslubundaki o dengesizlikten,
You can also recognize them from the way they speak, because they just speak nonsense. They don't talk like a normal Muslim. They talk like the Satan is speaking.
Seni neredeyse diyor
That-
ayette şeytanlar Allah'ın neredeyse gözleriyle devireceklerdi. İçten akıl almaz nefret ediyor. Ama dışarıdan belli etmiyor. Uslubuna konuşmasından belli etmiyor. Ama gıyabında
God
o
says in
gerçekten
another
bir
verse,
delidir diyorlar.
they
O
looked at you
gerçekten
with
bir
so
delidir.
hateful eyes.
Cünun, Mecnun.
Inside their hearts, they hate Muslims, but outside they don't want to make it known.
Yani ama o tabii muhbirlik yaptıkları, ajanlık yaptıkları efendilerine.
In their hearts, they say about Prophet Muhammad, Prophet, that he was a crazy man. He was a madman.
Vardır ki diyor Cenab-ı Allah, bak dünya hayatına ilişkin sözleri senin hoşuna gider. Modadan, süslenmekten, işte saç bakımından falan mesela konuşan kadınlar.
God says there are such people you will like to hear what they say about the world.
Veyahut
For example, they will talk about fashion, getting dressed up, expensive clothes and hair. Some ladies talk like that all the time, and some people like to hear those things. Or for example, they talk about music, they talk about statues, but they don't talk about it in a way that is connected to religion. They talk about it in a way that is connected to the material world. So they don't talk about religion, they are talented at that.
Dünya hayatına ilişkin, bak çok manidar koyar. Dünya hayatıyla ilgili konuşmada çok yetenekli olurlar. Öyle gevezelerle de bunlar muazzam bağlantı kurarlar. Ve kakara kikiri falan, yani muazzam bir konuşma yeteneği vardır. Bir tek Allah dininden konuşmaktan.
So they are very talented at talking about the material world.
Yani Kur'an okumak, Allah'tan, dinden bahsetmek çok canını yakar.
And they just talk about unimportant things. But they never want to talk about God. They never want to talk about religion. They don't want to talk about the Quran. They don't want to talk about God or religion. But they always talk about unimportant things. They would just love it. They would just love to talk about unimportant things, about the television show, gossiping and everything.
Dinden bahsetmesi çok rahatsız eder. Tahammül edemediği nokta. Bak Kur'an'da ona dikkat çekilmiş.
But if you start talking about religion, they will start writing, like they will just writing and squirming like a worm.
Kendi aralarında abuk subuk çok görmüştürsünüz. Ama dinden bahsedildiğinde rengi solar. Çok sıkılır. ızdırap çeker. Ayet ediyor ya, ürkmüş yaban eşekleri gibi kaçarlar diyor. Yalnız başına yaşar. Başka işlere ilgilenir.
But they don't want to talk about religion. They only want to talk about the material world. God says that they will run like scared donkeys. They want to live alone, but they don't want to talk about God. They don't want to hear about God. Despite what is really in their hearts, they say that God is their witness, but actually they are enemies. They always lie, God says. What is in their hearts is completely different, but despite that, they say that God is their witness. So they try to conceal their evil nature and evil actions.
Azılı bir düşmandır. Yani kahredici bir kararlılıktır. Tam bir iblis. Ama nasıl zarar vereceğini bilemiyor. Gücü olmadı.
God says that they are downright enemies.
Pis bakıyor. Yahut laf sokuyor. Veyahut mesela Hz. Musa'da olduğu gibi diyor ki Cenab-ı Allah bir sığır kesmenizi emrediyor.
But they don't know how to harm the Muslims. For example, they go to the side of Prophet Muhammad and they just make snide remarks. Or for example,
Sığıra benzer diyor, bak sübbelik yapıyor.
Prophet Moses told his people to slaughter a cow. He just said that. And just to disturb him, just to make him uncomfortable, just to harass him, they said that the cows are all similar. What kind of a cow are you talking about? So they're just acting like know-alls. Prophet Moses said that a normal cow, a healthy one. They said, no, make it more specific. And they just did it just to disturb him, just to harass him. And they kept asking more questions, and eventually they said, okay, now we got you. You disgusting, treacherous person. You are just making religion difficult. You are acting like a bigot. You are trying to do it to make religion very difficult. God explains the essence of the bigoted philosophy. God explains how the bigots try to make religion so difficult. According to a bigot, a radical, a religion cannot be easy. God says that slaughter a cow. It's very easy, right? But they don't want it. They want to make it complicated. They want to make it difficult, just like the radicals of today. So they kept asking questions, more details. God says that actually they didn't want to do it. They didn't mean to do it. God says in a verse, I didn't tell them to be extremes. I didn't tell them to make their religion complicated. I didn't tell them. They invented it. They produced it. But even themselves, they didn't follow it. They didn't follow what they invented.
Yoksa kalplerinde hastalık bulunanlar Allah'ın kinlerini hiç ortaya çıkarmayacağını sandılar. Muhammed Suresi 29. Yani yaptıkları ajanlığı, adiliği, pisliği, kindarlığı, Müslümanlarla sinsice uğraşmayı,
The ones that have sickness in their hearts, did they think that God would not reveal their hatred in their hearts? Did they think that their hatred, their hostility towards the Muslims would be hidden? They think that they are very intelligent and they are shameless.
Yaldızlı sözler.
That's why they lie all the time and then they try to distract attention. For example, they are demagogues. They are always demagogues.
Size bir kötülük isabet ettiğinde ise buna sevinin. Şimdi o kötülüğün gelmesini beklemez münafık. Bekler de.
I seek refuge in God from the cursed Satan. When something good happens to you, they will get upset. But when something bad happens to you, they will be happy. The hypocrites do not wait for the bad things to happen. They will try to contribute to it, or they try to do something bad. For example, they scowl, they frown, and they use snide remarks. They have their sharp tongues, and that's how they try to harass the Muslims. This is their slightest. This is the minimum, but their real action, their worst behavior is cooperating with the disbelief to hurt the Muslims. They try to actually get the Muslims killed, but of course they cannot do that. They're afraid of the laws. They're afraid of the courts. In the time of Prophet Muhammad, their sole purpose was getting Prophet Muhammad martyred. And as soon as Prophet Muhammad passed away, they martyred Hazret Ömer, Hazret Osman, Hazret Ali, the 12 Imams. They couldn't contain that anger, that hostility. So they started martyring all of them as soon as Prophet Muhammad passed away. For example, they harassed Hazret Ali so much. They were very hostile to him. They always disturbed him.
Mücadele Suresi 10, şeytan Allah'sın. Şüphesiz gizli toplantılarının, fısıldaşmalarının, kulis yapmalarının, iman edinleri üzüntüye düşürmek için ancak şeytan olur.
In Mücadele 10, I seek refuge from the cursed Satan. The hypocrites, they meet in secret meetings, and they do it to hurt the believers. Sometimes they talk on the phone, sometimes they communicate over internet. So it doesn't have to be face to face all the time. But they cannot hurt them if God doesn't will that. God says that I'm creating what they are saying. I'm creating their speeches. I'm creating their contacts. So I have the absolute power. And I'm creating their plots. And I'm foiling their plots. So you don't have to worry. It is not uncontrolled. So you should just put your trust in God. Because they don't have an independent power. If you think that the hypocrites have independent power, that would be illegal according to the religion. Because God creates all the actions of the hypocrites. God says that, just be patient and I'm going to reward you. If you think that they are independent powers, that's just illegal according to Islam. For example, Satan. You don't have to show me all the time. You can show the people, the audience here. In other TV channels too, sometimes they just show a single person all the time and they don't show the others. It's very strange. They usually focus on a single person.
münafıkların en hoşuna giden şey gizli konuşmalardır. Asrımızda da bunun teknolojisi çok gelişti. Mesela telefonunu alıyor adam, banyoya giriyor, her türlü bilgiyi veriyor oradan fısıldaşarak. Bak hep fısıldaşma.
People just love just making secret talks, and nowadays in modern day the technology is very conducive to that. For example, they get their phones and they go to the bathroom and they whisper. God says that they always whisper.
Halbuki onu duyuyor Allah, onu yaratıyor.
They think that doing this is just something that makes them superior. That foolish person, he doesn't understand that God is watching him as he is doing that. God is hearing him, God is creating him, God is creating everything he does, God is aware of everything he does. But he thinks that God is unaware of what he does. So he thinks, he is attacking the Muslims, but he thinks that in the same way he's attacking God. God is beyond that.
Evet.
That's why they feel so superior. They think that they're better than everyone else.
Münafığı iyi kavramayanlar şaşırıyorlar. Yani mesela münafığın suratsızlığına şaşırıyorlar. Pis konuşmasına şaşırıyorlar. Çirkefliğine şaşırıyorlar. Saldırganlığına şaşırıyorlar. Çaktırmadan
The ones that fail to understand the hypocrites, they get surprised. For example, they get surprised why the hypocrites they frown all the time, or they make snide remarks all the time, or why they are aggressive all the time. They are surprised that they pretend to be Muslims, but then it try to attack them. For example, the hypocrites, they feel happy when something bad happens to Muslims, but they feel hurt when something good happens to Muslims. For example, let's just say something bad happened to Muslims, a difficulty comes to Muslims. They might cry, trying to make it look like that he is with them.
Zekasıyla bir şeyler yapabildiğini düşündüğü için de kendine hayrandır münafık.
The hypocrites are really evil.
Yani o zekanın ulaşılmaz bir zeka olduğunu düşünür.
They believe that they are intelligent and that they can get away with their actions. They think that they actually worship themselves. They believe that they are so intelligent that no one can achieve their intelligence levels. They hate Muslims because they think that they are so intelligent. For example, he says that I'm a spy and they don't even realize. He says that I'm a spy and they cannot defeat me. Actually, believers are just patient to be rewarded by God. And as they are patient, they are rewarded more by God. And this hypocrite, he just prepares his hell for himself. God says that don't you think that I'm giving them comfort because they are good. I'm giving them comfort so that they will die in pain.
İnsan ve cin şeytanlarından bir düşman kaldı. Deccal. Her peygamberin
God says that in Enam 102, every prophet was given enemies, humans and jinns, Antichrist in other words. Every prophet had an Antichrist. Some of them whispered alluring words to fool each other. The hypocrites, they always whisper. For example, they are like snakes. They always slither. They always try to give intelligence to the disbelief system. And the hypocrites lie relentlessly all the time. For example, as they defend themselves, as they are explaining something, they always lie, non-stop, and that makes their foolishness very clear. For example, sometimes some people tell lies that are a bit intelligent, but the hypocrites, their lies are very, very bad. For example, they say something, and a minute later they just say the opposite.
Ya böyle iftira atıyorsan senden her şey beklenir diyor bir sefer. Yani akıl almaz ahmaktır münafık. Yani abartılı bir ahmaklığı vardır. Her an kaçma eğilimindedir münafık. Ama Müslümanlardaki menfaatten dolayı da gidemez.
The hypocrites
Bir
are
de
cowards.
Müslümanlara
They are
zarar
very
vermek için
timid.
gitmek istemez.
They always
Yani
make
pislik
plans
yaparken
against the
Müslüman
plots,
gittiğinde
try to concoct
artık
plots
ahlaksızlık
against the
yapma gücünü
Muslims, and they
kaybedeceği
always
için
want to leave the sides of
yani tabii
Muslims.
kendini yine
But also they don't
ayrılıp
want to leave
ahlaksızlık
their
yaptığını
side because they
söylüyorlar.
want to benefit
Yine
from them.
sizin
And
haberlerinizi
also they don't want
alırlar
to
diyor.
leave their sides
İstihbarat
because they want to
toplarlar.
hurt
Yine
Muslims.
kafirlerle
When they
işbirliği
say,
yaparlar.
when they
Yine
leave
adiliklerine
the
devam
side of the
ederler.
Muslims,
Ama
they think
işte
that they
asıl
won't
çok
be
kişileri
able
bunlar.
to hurt them.
Yani
So
şeytani haz alıyor. Çünkü orada yüzüyle, sesiyle, ahlaksızlığıyla daha fazla
God
adilik yapma
says
imkanı
that
oluyor.
even after they leave
Daha
your side,
çok
they will
haysiyetsizlik
try
yapma
to
imkanı oluyor.
they will
Ama
try to
ayrılınca
plot
bunun
against
ruhu
you
düşüyor.
still, but they
Ama
like it even better
saldırı
when they're
planlama
amongst the
açısından
believers, posing as
dışarıda
true believers,
olmayı da
because they
yeğliyorlar.
believe that when they're
Ayette
amongst the
diyor
believers,
sizden
they
hep
will
haber
be able
toplarlar
to inflict
dışarıdan.
more damage.
Haberlerinizi alırlar.
But
O
when they leave
istihbaratı değerlendirip Müslümanların düşmanlarına onu
their danger,
onlarla
the
işbirliği
damage they
yapmak
will
istiyorlar. Ama eğer
inflict
düşmanları
will
güçlü
reduce,
değilse
will
onları da
diminish.
terk ediyorlar
God
ayette.
says that even when they
Belirtilmiş.
leave your
Yani mesela
side,
kafir
after they
ezerse
leave your
Müslümanı
side, they will
yani
try
fikren
to
yahut düşünce
get news
sebep bir
about
şekilde
you and provide that to
onlardan da
your
koparıyorlar.
enemies.
Yani güçlüden yana
But
oluyorlar
of
onlar.
course, if those enemies, if they are not powerful enough, they
Hayır,
leave
müminler
their
sana yapıyor
sides too.
arsızca. Ya diyor, biz sizden zaten beraberdik. Yani, nerede? Yani o deliliklerinin bir yansıması olmuş.
So they always side with the might. Whoever is powerful, they choose their side.
Bak mesela Müslümanlara diyorlar ki şeytanı Allah'a sığınırım. Ahzab suresi 13'te. Ey Medine halkı.
That's the
Yani
indication,
şehirdeki
that's the sign
kişiler.
of their crazy nature,
Yani
psychopathic
şehirdeki
nature.
var kişiler. Artık sizin
For
için
example, they tell Muslims, they
burada
say
kalacak
to
yer yok.
Muslims in Ahzab
Şu halde
13,
artık dönün.
the people of Medina,
Bak kendisi korkak
the
ya, kendi
people living in that city,
Müslümanları
they
dağıtmak ister
tell
münafık.
the people living in the city,
Onları da
they say,
provoke edip onların da ayrılmasını ister.
there is
Sırf kendilerinin
no
ayrılması
longer a place
münafığı
to
rahat
live in
bırakmaz.
here for you, so you should just
Kendiyle
leave.
beraber çok fazla insanı
They are
götürmek ister.
cowards and they are
Eğer
trying
Müslümanlar
to
kalırsa çok
disperse the
zarar verir
believers too. They are
münafıklar. Çok
trying to
rahatsız eder.
provoke them. They are trying to instill fear in their hearts. They are trying to make them leave Prophet Muhammad too.
Mesela diyor ki Münafıkun suresi 8'de şeytan Allah'a sınırım. Andolsun diyor, yemin ediyorlar bir de. Medine'ye bir dönecek olursak, o şehre yeniden gelecek olursak gücü ve onuru çok olan bak.
For example, in Munafiqun 8,
Gücü
I
ve
seek
onuru
refuge
çok
in God
olan.
from the
Mesela
curse of
İngilizlerin
Satan.
devleti. Mesela CIA,
They
yahut
say, if we go back to
oradaki
that
dinsiz
city,
topluluk ama güçlü
the
görünen
dignified ones, the
saldırgan ve
powerful ones,
Müslümanlara
they
düşman
see,
olan bir
they
topluluk.
always look for the powerful ones. They think that the British secret state is powerful or CIA is
Gücü ve
powerful.
onuru çok olan,
Or
güçten kastım
any
tabii silahlı güçlü hepsi.
disbeliever
Onuru çok olan
community
yani
that
cahili,
seem
küfür
powerful
olan,
and
küfür sükses.
that are against the
Var ya
believers,
orada
maybe a
mesela
terrorist group. They always
küfürde
choose
sükse yapanlar.
that.
Tek tek. Hep onların bilinç altında
They
bir
say
gün
that
Müslümanlara
the
saldırılacak ve
powerful
onlar
ones,
darmadağın edilecek fikri
the
var.
dignified ones,
Münafıklar hep o özlem içinde
will
yaşıyorlar.
drive out the
Onun
ones
için
that
de
are
sürekli
weak
küfürle
and that are
irtibat halinde
downtrodden.
oluyorlar.
This is how they view the Muslims. They subconsciously they always believe that Muslims will be one day disturbed, completely eliminated and ended. That's why they always try to cooperate with the unbelievers. God says in a
Evet,
verse,
mesela bir şey konuştuğunda onu aleyhine
when you see
hemen
them,
çirkefleşir. Bir
you
şey
think
söylediğinde
that they
o da
are
aleyhine
they
bir
have an
iman
imposing
olsa da hemen
figure,
çirkefleşir.
and when they talk, you will listen to
Mesela bir
them, but
yerden
actually they
birileri
are
laf
like
duyar,
hollowed
hemen
out logs.
azgınlaşır.
For example,
Yani
when
ruhu
the
huzursuzluk,
hypocrites,
böyle hayvani bir vahşilik içinde oluyor.
well, the
Allah'ı
hypocrites, they
anlamadan
always
çok
think
güzel
that in everything you say there is something against them, so they get aggressive.
19'da şeytan
They are very restless.
yani her
They have
yerinde
this
şeytan
animalistic
bedenine şeytan.
behavior, and they don't
Yani
want to
bedeni
talk
ve
about God.
elektromanyetik
They
dalgaları
cannot
bu
stand
kapatıyor.
talking
Kollarına,
about God.
bacaklarına, her yerine
In
hakim
one
oluyor
verse,
şeytan.
God says that Satan completely
Böylelikle
engulfed
onlara
them.
Allah'ın zikrini unutturmuştur. Allah'ın
Almost say
anılmasına çok
it's like
sıkılırlar.
Satan almost
Mesela bir
took
yazı
over their
yazmak,
bodies
Allah'la ilgili,
completely.
dinle ilgili bir şey okumak, Müslümanlara imanı, Kur'an'ı bir şeyde yardımcı olmak.
And Satan made them forget about God's remembrance. They don't want to hear about God. They don't want to write about God. They don't want to help Muslims.
Mesela bilimle, mantıkla
And
açıklamaya
even if
kalkar
they
Allah.
do it, they always
Yani
do
felsefeyle
it in an
Kur'an'la
evil way.
anlatmak
For example,
istemez.
if they write something, they
Allah'ın
always
varlığını, birliğini anlatırken kuşku
use
duyuracak
some words
şekilde,
that are evil, that are
insanları şüpheye düşürecek
hypocritical.
şekilde konuşur. Çünkü
For
hasta ya.
example, when they
Kalpteki
talk about
hastalıktan
God,
dolayı
when they believe that they
konuşurken
have to talk about
imanı
God,
samimi bir
they talk
coşkuyla
about
Allah'ı
God
severek
in a philosophical manner, in a way that would instill doubts in people's hearts, that would plant doubts in people's hearts, because they are sick in their hearts and they want to make people.
Kur'an'la açıklamak istemez. Ağrına gider o. Çünkü kendini Allah'tan daha üstün gördüğü
So
için.
when they talk, they cannot talk in a sincere way. They cannot talk about God in an earnest way, in a joyful way. For example, when they are talking about the creation of the universe, they try to talk about it in a philosophical manner.
Konuşmalar yapar. Yani bilim züppesi olur. Bu Firavun devrinde de böyleydi. Daha önceki devirde, her devirde öyle.
They act and sound very snobbish. They're very conceited. They try to give the impression that they can explain them. They try to use science in that way, trying to give the impression that they are superior. They are supporters of the Satan. God says that be careful. The supporters of the Satan will be defeated. They are bound to be defeated. But you can see that only if you are careful. But if you are not careful, you might think that they are doing fine.
Zumer suresi 45. Sadece Allah anıldığı zaman münafıkların, ahirete inanmayanın kalbi
My friend from Bosnia, how are you? I'm great, thank you very much.
Hemen sevinci kapılırlar. Mesela Allah'tan dinle bahsedince adam pörsür.
In Zumer 45, when God is mentioned, the hypocrites and the ones that don't believe in the hereafter will get angry. But when someone else is talked about, they get happy. For example, when you talk about God, they just shrink back to their seats and their faces get evil, their faces get hostile. They make you feel that they are bored. But when you talk about fashion or drinks or dresses and luxury, they just get liven up.
Kur'an'ın anılmasına rahatsız olan bir mahluka çevirir. Münafıkların özelliği kendilerini çok zeki görüyor ama yani
Since 1992, he has been the leader of Tajikistan. This is the presidential system. He never leaves.
Daha akıllı, daha üstün olduklarına inanırlar. Ve yine kendilerine diyor bu Bakara suresi 13'te.
The thing about the hypocrites is that they think that they are hyper intelligent, and they think that believers are very foolish. They think that they are better than all the believers.
Allah'a itaatlidir. Sürekli Allah'tan, dinden bahseder. İmani konular açıldığında içi ferahlar.
When they are told to believe, just like other Muslims,
o zaman ne diyorlar diyor.
When they are told to be normal people, trusting God, loving God, respectful and kind,
kafasının çok üstün olduğuna inanıyor. Çok zeki, çok akıllı olduğuna inanıyor.
Then when they are invited to be like that, they will say that, so are we supposed to be like foolish people? Because they believe that they are incredibly intelligent. They think that they are very smart. God says that they are the foolish ones. But indeed, they are very foolish. For example, they lie. And the lie is very obvious. And even if you prove that it's a lie, they say that they deny that they ever told the lie. And then they try to turn it against you and they say, why are you trying to frame me? They're just psychopaths. God says that they are the foolish ones, but they don't know it. So they don't understand. They think that they are superior to all the believers. And they just love themselves only. That's why they team up with the unbelievers, they team up with the immoral people. They can stoop to all levels and they think that they are geniuses. They think that they are special geniuses. That's what Satan makes them believe. In Ashab 20, the hypocrites, they thought that the enemies were still there.
Bir nevi yani kendini sezdirmeyen bir sistem içine girerek oradan sizin haberlerinizi tahkik eder, araştırırlar diyor. Fakat içinizde olsalar da ancak
even after the hypocrites leave Muslim side,
anlatmak istemez. İslam'ın yayılması onun ağrına gider. Yeni bir insanın gelmesini istemez.
They
Yeni
will
gelenin
try
kaçmasını
to
ister.
learn about you, try to
Müslümanlara her ilham
find out
eden
what you are
adamın
doing.
Müslümanlara güç
God
verdiği
says that
insanın
if
için
they
nefret
stayed
eder,
with
onları
you,
kaçırmaya çalışır.
they wouldn't have
Ayette
helped
de hep
you.
onları kaçırmaya çalıştıklarını
This is a loose
ayetler
translation
anlatıyor, Kur'an
of the
ayetleri
verse.
anlatıyor.
They don't
Yani
want to
nefret eder
talk
yeni bir
about
insanın
Islam. They don't
gelmesini
want
istemez.
new people
İman hakikatlerini
becoming
anlatılmasını
Muslims.
istemez. Çünkü
They
anlatılırsa
want Muslims, they
İslam'ı
want
gösterecek.
everyone to leave
Ne
the
kendi
sides of
anlatır ne
Muslims.
başkasının anlatmasını ister.
They will try
Yoksa
to
iman
drive away
anlatmış oluyor.
people
Mükemmel.
from
Ama
Islam.
mesela bilimsel züppelik yapmak ister. Mesela münafık diyor ki her şey diyor Allah yarattı diyor Hazreti Musa. Peki diyor daha önceki nesillerin durumu ne o zaman diyor. Yani çünkü ilk çağ insanlarına inanıyor. Yani hani var ya kabataş çağı.
For example, the
onlar
hypocrites.
inanıyor. Onların durumu nedir diyor. Ya onlar
Prophet
insan
Moses
değildir diyor.
said
Yani
that
maymun gibi,
God created
mahluklardır.
everything. Then Pharaoh
Peki
says
onlar
that,
ne diyor?
what about the previous
Hepsi Allah'ın katında bir
generations?
kitapta diyor.
Because
Hazreti
he
Musa.
believed
Hepsini
he
Allah'a
believed
yazıyor.
that the
İnsan olarak
first
yazıyor.
people were
İslam'ın
primitive
konuştuğu bu.
people, and he thought that with this logic he could just defeat him. Prophet Moses says that they are all in a book in God's sight. Prophet Moses said that God created all of them and as human beings.
Tövbe suresi 127. Bir sure indirildiğinde şeytandan Allah'a sığınırım. Bazısı bazısına bakar. Yani münafıklar birbirlerine bakıyorlar. Sizi bir kimse görüyor mu derler diyor. Yani münafığın en önemli özelliği gizli bir şeyler yapması.
In Tövbe Surah 127, I seek refuge in God from the cursed Satan. When a surah is revealed by God, the hypocrites will look at each other and they will say, does anyone see
Onun
you?
için kendisinin görülmesinden
The thing
çok
about the
rahatsız olur
hypocrites is that they do things hidden.
İzlenmesinden, fark edilmesinden çok rahatsız olur. Hep izbelerde yaşamak ister yani pislik yaparken. Sizi bir kimse görüyor mu?
So they are evil in that way. They don't want to be seen. They always act secretly.
Müslümanların
They don't want to be
başarılı
seen.
olmasını
They don't
istemeyen
want to be watched. They don't want to be noticed.
gerçekten onlar bir topluluk
They
olmalı.
always want
Dolayısıyla
to
Allah onların kalplerini çeviriyor.
live
Yani bunlar
hidden.
klan halinde hareket ederler diyor. Allah bir topluluktur. Birbirlerinin dayanışma içindedirler diyor. Yani öyle tek başına
They don't want
yaşayan
Muslims to be
mahluk değil
successful
bunlar.
and they leave their side thinking that they will hurt them. God says that they act together like a pack
Yoksa onlar bir
and they help each
şairdir.
other.
Biz ona zamanın getireceği felaketleri
They are
gözlüyoruz
not
diyor.
isolated
Ya
incidents.
da
They
bir
cooperate. They come
peygamberim
together,
diyor ama
find each other.
normalde peygamber değil. Şair yani
In
sadece
Tur Surah,
başarılı, güzel konuşabilen, zeki bir insan diyorlar.
they say that he is a
Yani
poet
o
and we are
sözlerle
waiting for the
ustaca söylenmiş,
disasters
zekice
to befall on
söylenmiş
him.
sözler.
For example, what
Yani
they
vahiy
thought
değil,
about
Allah
Prophet
katından
Muhammad
gelmiyor
is
diyorlar.
that they said that he is not a prophet, he's just a poet. He
Ama
is articulate, he is intelligent, but he's not a
yani
prophet. This is what the
huri bir hareket
hypocrites of the time said about Prophet Muhammad.
sahte bir peygamber olduğuna inanıp yahut sahte bir Müslüman olduğuna, sahte bir dava olduğuna inandıkları için biz ona zamanın getireceği felaketleri gözlüyoruz diyorlar. Yani bir baskın, bir saldırı veyahut içeride meydana gelecek bir fitne, kendi içinde bir parçalanma veyahut dışarıdan gelecek bir saldırı.
Because they didn't believe that
Veyahut
Prophet
ona bir
Muhammad's
hastalık
cause
veyahut bir
was
bela
real,
gelmesi.
they said that we are waiting,
Yani
looking
doğal bir
forward
ölüm
to
olabilir.
disasters to befall on
Veyahut
him.
birinin gelip öldürmesi olabilir.
A police
Bir şekilde bir
operation
belanın
or
gelmesi
an
olarak
unrest
gözlüyorlar.
within the community or an
Yani
attack from
sağlamda görse
outside
zaten ona sadık olur.
or
Mutlaka bir
diseases
şey olacağına
or
inanıyor.
other
Yani mutlaka ya öleceğini
problems
ya
or
öldürüleceğini,
maybe
ya
a
hastalanacağını,
natural
ya
death or
çökeceğini, ya
assassination.
birilerinin
So
saldıracağını
they always wait
düşünüyor.
for disaster
De
to
ki
strike
siz
the Muslims.
gözetliğe durun. Çünkü ben de sizinle birlikte gözetleyenlerdenim.
They believe that
Beraber
something
ama sen
bad will
neticeye
definitely
geleceksin.
happen to them.
Müminler
They
neticeye
believe that he
gelecek.
will die or he
Boş
will
yere
be attacked.
gözlüyorsunuz.
He will get
Çünkü
ill.
münafık hüsrana uğruyor
God
sonunda.
says that
Mümin
you just
nitelikli
wait.
gözleniyor.
God says to Prophet Muhammad that he should say, you
Tövbe
just
suresi
wait because
64'da
I'm
münafıklar
waiting too.
kalplerinde olanı kendilerine haber
Because the
verecek bir
hypocrites
surenin
will go
aleyhlerine
towards their
indirilmesine
doom,
çekiniyorlar.
destruction,
Yani
and the
yaptıkları
believers
pislik
will get
faaliyetlerinden,
stronger. The
casusluk
hypocrites are
faaliyetlerinden,
defeated,
yaptıkları
and
adiliklerin, kahpeliklerin
as they are
bir
defeated, the
şekilde
believers get stronger.
imama
In
Allah
Tevbe
tarafından
Surah
bildirilmesine
64,
çekiniyorlar.
the hypocrites are afraid that a surah that discloses
Onlar
their
ayete inanmaz.
true
Bilginin gelmesine, bir
intentions
şekilde bir bilgi gelmesine
will
çekiniyorlar.
be sent down.
Yani yaptıkları
They're afraid
oyunların
that
deşifre
the
olmasına çok
imam
korkuyorlar.
is revealed.
De ki alay edin.
Imam is
Şüphesiz
informed
Allah
about their
kuşkunda
plots
olduklarınızı
by
açığa
God.
çıkarandır. Onlar alay ettiklerini yani
Of course, they
zekice
don't believe that the
ince
verses really come from
Müslümanlarla
God, but they believe
uğraştıklarını,
that
Müslümanlara pislik
somehow
yaptıklarını,
intelligence about them will
onları
go to the
huzursuz
prophets
ettiklerini,
and that they will be
psikolojik olarak
disclosed.
yıprattıklarını
God
zannediyorlar.
says that
Allah diyor
just
devam edin diyor.
continue with what
Çünkü
you are
Müslümana zarar
doing.
vermesi diye bir
God
şey yok.
will reveal your plots.
Şüphesiz Allah
They believe
kaçmakta
that
olduklarınızı açığa
they
çıkaracak.
are hurting the Muslims, that
Yani
they can plot
kaçtığınız
against them,
sizi
that they
saracak
think
diyor.
that they are
Ve bu
disturbing the
açığa
Muslims,
çıkacak diyor.
but in fact they cannot do that. God says that God will disclose your true intentions.
Ali İmran suresi 118. Ey iman edenler, ey iman edenler, sizden olmayanları sırdaş edinmeyin. Onlar size kötülük ve zarar vermeye
118th verse
çalışırlar.
of Surah
Çalışıyor. Size
Al-Imran.
zorlu bir sıkıntı
God
verecek şeyden
says,
hoşlanırlar.
believers, do not
Bu diyor
make
düşmanlıkları arkalarından dışa
non-religious
vurmuşlar.
your friends.
Sinirlerinizi
They
tutuklayırsa
like
belki
what
size
gives
ayetlerimizi
pain to
açıklar.
you.
Belki
Their
akıl
enmity
edersiniz diyor
comes
Allah.
out
Ali
from
İmran
their
suresi
mouth,
118.
and what their
Sizden olmayanlar sırdaş
hearts
edinmeyi değil yani münafık
heart
olduğunda şüphe
is
ettikleriniz.
just
Sırdaş
bigger
edinmeyin.
than you think.
Ama sen sırdaş edilmesen o senin yanına
No, God
gelmez.
says that those people who you
Sevgili olur.
suspect
Diyor ki,
that
senden
they are
uzak
hypocrites,
kalmak,
do not
senin
make
ne yaptığını
them
anlamak
their
istiyor.
friends. Well,
Peygamberimiz
those
hiç
people will try
ayrılmıyor.
to approach you
Nereye
under all
sırdaş edinmeyi?
circumstances
İstihbarat
because their
yapmaya
intention
ihtiyaçları var.
is to garner
Gece bile kalktığında
intelligence.
peygamber, onlar da
For
gece
instance,
kalkıyorlar.
they
Acaba ne
they
yapıyor, ne
followed
diyecek?
our
Yani onlar bak sırdaş edilmeyin dedi yani onlar sürekli sır ararlar. Bunun için de yanına gelmesi lazım.
they always look for secrets, and that's why they need to be around you.
Sürekli bağlantıda olması lazım.
Otherwise, they cannot garner any intelligence.
Peygamberin gece namazına bile
They
beraber
need to be in
kalkması
contact
lazım.
with the Muslims in order to garner
Kafirlere
intelligence.
bildirmek için.
There were some hypocrites who woke up to night prayer
Allah
so that they
yalan
could
söylüyorlar,
get some
inanmıyorlar.
information from our prophets. But if you ask them, they did it for God's
Oyun
sake.
oynuyorlar. Yani istihbarat amaçlı. Onlar size kötülük ve zarar vermeye çalışıyor. Yani nasıl?
So
işte
their
bir
intention was
bakışıyla,
to gather
elinde
intelligence.
ipliğiyle Allah'ı anlayarak Müslümanları
They
dikkati
want to
başka
give
şeye
harm to
çekerek
them with their
size zorlu bir
looks
sıkıntı verecek
by
şeyden
not remembering
hoşlanıyorlar.
God. By
Yani
distracting the
bir baskın
Muslims,
olması,
they
yaptıkları
try to
hastalık,
give pain to
hastalık,
them.
laf sokmaya çalışmaları,
So their
yıldırdıkları,
aggressiveness, their aggressive
sahtekarca
tone,
bir üslup geliştirmeleri,
their
Allah'tan bahsedilmesini
answering
engellemek,
back,
Müslümanların Allah'tan
their aggressive
bahsetmesini engelleyecek
tones,
her şeyi yapmaları, tebliğini durdurmak için gayret etmeleri, Müslümanları
they do
ölüm
everything
yollara
but everything in
çekmesi.
order to stop
Mesela
the
Müslüman dini
preaching
yaymak istediğinde
Islam.
onu başka türlü bir yola çekmeye çalışır.
The
Gücüyle
hypocrite's
imkanı
intention is to
parasını
draw
boş
the
yere
Muslims
harcaması için
to
gayret
other
eder.
ways, to other paths. They use all their
Sinirlerini gizli
energy,
tuttukları
all
ise daha
their
büyük bir yani. İçinde
might in
sürekli
order
bir kin,
to put the
gizlice
efforts of
kalıveriyor.
Muslims
Ve
in
sürekli
vain.
asıl budur. Ama
And in the
dışarıya
verse it is
kısmen
stated that
yani
what their hearts harbor
sezilemeyeceğini
is
düşündüğü
bigger.
kadarını yansıtır diyor Allah.
Well, they only reveal
Size
part
ayetlerimizi
of
açıkladık
that
belki akıl edebilirsiniz diyor Ali
hatred
İmran
to
suresi.
the outside. 118th verse of Surah Al-Imran. In one verse of the Quran, God says,
İnfakta bulunmayın.
do not give away
Kul değil
any,
yani
any
Müslümanlar
money
parasını
to those
harcatmasın.
who side with prophets
Kör
so
bir
that
parası
they
var.
will go away.
O bir yönü.
Well, they
Yani
also want
para
to
verilmemesini sağlaması bir yönü.
they also want to
Ama
defeat
bu
the
tabii geniş
Muslims
çaplı
in the
uygulanan bir şey olduğu
psychological
için Kur'an
sense.
bunu
This
da
is one
açıklamış.
aspect. What
Kavgacılıkları,
they essentially do
tartışma
is to
çıkarmaları,
make
mesela
psychological
peygamberi haksız
pressure
göstermeye
upon
çalışmaları,
Muslims
adaletsiz
by being
göstermeye
aggressive,
çalışmaları,
by getting into a
mesela
conflict.
drar
They
mescidini
try to
kuruyorlar.
make
Yani
prophets
böyle
look
sıkıntı
unjust,
Nasıl
unjust.
uyarıyorlar? Kadın gelmez.
For instance, they construct the Drar
Öbür
Masjid,
mescide kadın geliyor.
and they say that
Peygamber diyorlar yani
they
aramızda
constructed
kalsın da
that
haşa
masjid
vazlı
because
diyor.
no women are
Yani bunun
allowed
dışında bu
there.
kadar evlenmek falan.
They said that
Bizi
our
bir
prophet
şey
has
kadın
gone
uzak duruyor.
insane because he has married so
Kadın
many
elimiz bile
women,
dokunmayız diyor. Böyle bir şey yok.
and they say that they
Mesela
stay away
kadının yanlış
from
şekilde
women.
dokunduğunda gidip abdest alıyorlar. Abdest
They
alıyorlar.
distance themselves from women, and that's why
Ayette var ya
they are
kadınlar
more
dokunmaz.
religious, they claim. In the
Yani mesela münafık bir kadın.
67th verse of
Münafık
Surah
erkekle bağlantı
At-Tawbah,
kuruyor.
it is stated,
Birbirlerine akıl veriyorlar. Teknik
hypocrite
yöntem
men and hypocrite women are for one another. So they exchange views, they exchange technical
Mesela Müslüman aleyhine bir gelişme olacaksa bunu
means.
durduruyorlar. Mesela güzel bir ortam varsa onu bozmaya çalışıyorlar. Mesela müminler
they impede the good. How does this happen? For instance, if there is a good environment, they try to impede it. They try to make Muslims unhappy. They try to break the love among Muslims. They try to instill jealousy.
Haset ruhuyla ortadan kaldırmaya çalıştığı diğer ayetlerden ve bu ayetlerin hepsinden anlaşılıyor.
They try to give jealousy into their hearts.
Şeytan Allah gözlerin hainliklerini ve göğüslerin sakladıklarını bilir diyor Mümin Suresi 19. Yani
God says that God knows what the hearts harbor.
O iblisane ruh,
So they have a very insidious heart, and that feels of their insidiousness, those satanic view they have, becomes apparent on their bodies, on their faces, and they want to use this as a weapon against the Muslims. But as they do this, as they do more of this, they have the harm of it. Every time they try to use this weapon against the Muslims, they are hurt by this very weapon.
Tövbe suresi 107'de bak, zarar vermek, inkarı pekiştirmek. Münafığın derdi neymiş? Zarar vermek.
107th verse of Surah At-Tawbah. In order to give harm and to soldate a religion, more or less, so their intention is to inspire concerns to the Muslims. They want to give harm to the possessions of Muslims, to set the Muslims apart. For instance, talking against the Muslims. For instance, they say, that person is silly, he is foolish, he is misguided. And this way,
imamı olan peygamberden kopartmak. Bak, müminler arasını ayırmak. Nasıl yapacak?
They want to detach Muslims from their guide, from their prophet or messenger. So how can they accomplish it? By provoking the wives of our prophet, by distancing Muslims from one another.
Fakat kendisinin üstün olduğunu söylüyor. Kendisinin akıllı olduğunu söylüyor.
So whatever those people are doing, but they believe that they are superior.
Peygamberi soğuttuğunu düşünüyor. Ve peygamberden de müminleri soğutmaya çalışıyor.
They think that they distance people from our prophet.
Ve daha önce Allah ve elçisine karşı savaşanı gözlemek. Kim mücadele ettiyse daha önce peygambere, Müslümanlara karşı
and to observe those,
mesela bir münafık grup mu var? Onlar. Kim? Kafirlerden bir grup var? Onlar.
Whoever struggle against prophets, they go and get into contact with such people.
Bak, onun için de mescit edinirler diyor. Yani İslam ve Kur'an görünümünde, Müslüman görünümünde bunu yapıyor.
And that's why they have their own masjid. And they do it under the appearance of a Muslim. For instance, some allege that they are rulers. Some say they are others. And they have nothing to do with being a ruler. And they say, they swear that they don't want anything other than being good. They say that they are distant, they are rational people. They try to appear so, but they are indeed filthy people. So our Prophet didn't get into touch with such hypocrites, and Hazrat Osman also didn't get into touch with them, because they were very insidious people. They were really dirty. They wanted to have secret meetings with our prophet. They wanted to be alone with our prophet because they didn't want any other person to witness their filthy talk. And in order to impede that kind of secret meetings, our God said that they need to give alms, and some of them didn't want to give away their money, so they didn't hold secret meetings with our prophet. in order to do harm to our prophets, they wanted to have confidential meetings because when they are alone, they could say every kind of lies to them. And when our prophet had to prove their lies, our prophet needed a witness, and that was what they were trying to avoid.
Yani onun seviyesine inip bir münafıkla muhatap olmak çok zor.
So our prophet always avoided secret talks with the hypocrites, and God also made it obligatory upon the hypocrites to give alms before holding a meeting, a secret meeting with our prophet.
Güçsüz olduklarını, zayıf olduklarını, halbuki bir çıkarı olsa
Our prophet says,
it gibi güç kazanır. Ama çıkılacak yol onlara uzun gelir.
well, if those hypocrites had an interest, they can get some. They can put more energy. However, they think that they have no benefits in going to a struggle with our prophet. And in the verse it's also stated that they will swear in the name of God. But they are devastating their lower selves. They are losing both their growth and the hereafter. And God knows that they tell lies. For what is peculiar about the hypocrites is that they say incessant lies. And they do it in a very disgusting way indeed. In another verse of the Quran, God says, when they are called to the prophet so that judgment can be made for them, they return their backs to the prophet. This was a loose translation. Well, the provision of our prophets was always solid. It was always right, but hypocrites never believed in the statements of our prophets. I'm repeating this verse. When they are called to our prophets, a group of hypocrites turn their backs to our prophets. That is why when you talk to a hypocrite, you should always tell to him that he is right. This is how we can understand the hypocrite. You cannot say that a hypocrite is wrong. You should always tell him that he is right. Otherwise, he turns disgusting and he becomes a trouble for the Muslims. I'm repeating this verse. When they are called to our prophet so that he can judge, a group of them turn their backs to it. If the right is, well, they can only accept those judgments who are in favor of them. Otherwise, they get organized and they act in a disgusting way. Surah 80 of Surah Al-Maida. Well, hypocrites believe that the real friendship, the real support comes from the irreligious. This is what we understand from the verse 80 of Surah Al-Maida. For instance, in the time of Pharaoh, Jews accompanied Prophet Moses to the desert. And in the desert, they say that the time they spent with Pharaoh was perfect, but they were oppressed. But they considered the culture of Pharaoh very beautiful. They thought that they ate the real food there, that they enjoyed the real modernity there. This is what they believed. That is why they always longed for the irreligion. And in this verse it is stated, you see many of them taking those who are irreligious as their friends. For instance, they get into contact with those irreligious people on the internet and say that they like their books. And their intention is to say that they are alright. For instance, an article of an irreligious or a rationale that has nothing to do with Islam, or a tone that brags about the ignorance. They say that they like it. And the message they want to give is that I'm your friend, but this is what I can say. This is all I can say about it. But if you dig a little bit more, you will see me being a full friend with you.
küfürde
They do not like any other Islamic books, any other Islamic works, but they always like those things which has connections with religious. For instance, they like some philosophical statements, some philosophical things. This means that they are of the same mindset. But this is all they can say and do.
Verilen mesaj bu olmuş oluyor.
And he gives the message that when the time comes, they can get into an alliance. This is the kind of message they want to give.
Ortamı da onun hoşuna gidiyor. Yani dostluk deyince adamın sırf şahsen
Being friends with a religion, so they base an environment so that they can to terms with the religion.
Onun okuduğu kitaplar, onun felsefesi, onun her şeyi.
The way
Ve
the
Müslümanlara
books
karşı
they
bir
religious
koz
with
olarak
their
kullanıyor.
philosophy,
Asıl dostluğun orada olduğu,
their
asıl
lifestyle,
güzelliğin,
everything
medeniyetin
about the
orada olduğu,
irreligion
Müslümanların
is
ilkel
used
olduğu.
as a leverage against the Muslims. They think that the real civilization rests with the irreligious and the Muslims are distant to it. That's why from the tribe of Prophet Moses, a great majority of the people accompanying Prophet Moses wanted to go back to Egypt. They wanted to see those pyramids. They wanted to eat the food of Pharaoh. For instance, when they say garlic or lentils or onions,
o mutfak uygulamasında
they
bir örnektir o. Yani
they cooked a certain cuisine
kokulu,
with those garlics, with those onions.
Baharatlı bilmem ne yemekler yiyip onları yemeyi bir eğlence unsuru yapmışlardı.
They were really piggish.
Yani boğaz kültürü, yemek yeme kültürü.
They thought that eating such food with garlic, with onions, with some spice was something fun.
Sade bir yemek var. Sade bir yemek bu.
However, on the desert, they had ordinary food. But of course, what Prophet Moses ate were very, very beneficial. They were ordinary food, but they were very beneficial. But in the Egyptian culture, there were various kinds of foods in the cuisine of the Egypt. There were various kinds of foods. They were spicy, cooked with garlics, with onions. And the garlic, onion were the basic elements of that Egyptian cuisine. And these people, some people from the tribe of Prophet Moses longed for those foods, all kinds of foods. Those side dishes, meats.
Allah'ın rızası
That
mı
was
yemek kültürü
what
yemek kültürünü tercih ediyor.
They longed for.
Oranın o mimarisi, o taşların
so they preferred the cuisine over the consent of God. The architecture in Egypt attracted them greatly. They believed in their grandson. For instance, on the desert there were no such architectures. For instance, they were longing to see that sculpture of the cow. And they also wanted to be distant to the Islam and the Quran. Of course, at that time there was the Torah. They considered the Torah to be primitive. And they considered themselves to be smarter, to be more modern. For instance, Samiri said, I see what they cannot see. He believes that he is very smart. He believes that he is the smartest of the all tribe.
Bir kısmını çıkarttım diyor. Yani dini kendime göre değiştirdim diyor.
And he says that he deleted some of the parts.
Allah'ın kitabından hükümler çıkarttım diyor. Dolayısıyla yeni hükümler eklemiş.
He deleted some of the parts of the Torah.
Ezik, garip bir
Samiri said he generated some new provisions from the God's book. So he put forward an intellectual religion for himself, another religion, which is different from the religion of God. And this is what is accentuated in the verse.
Hazreti Musa
So
120
living
yaşına
for
kadar
God
yaşadı.
was something bothersome for the tribe of Prophet Moses.
O Lübnan'da
Despite all that
orada vefat etti.
miracles,
Orada bir mağaraya gömüldü mübarek.
Prophet Moses lived for 120
Tabii onun da
years.
mescidini yeniden onaracağız. Hazreti Musa'nın.
And he died there in the desert, and he was buried in a cave, that blessed person.
Şeytan da değil mi? Ben sizi
The
görmem
throne of the
görüyorum.
Satan is also the very
Yani
same.
çok
He
zeki
says,
oldu.
I see what you can't see. And he also says that he fears
Ve
God. So he
Müslümanları
believes that he is
ustaca
very
rahatsız ediyor.
smart. This is what is peculiar about
Alçakça onları
the
yavaş yavaş çaktırmadan tedirgin
hypocrites.
etmiyor.
And they irritate,
Yapabildiği
they
kadar tabii kendince.
in a treacherous
Halbuki hep
manner
kendi yıpranır.
try
Allah'ın
to
özel
give,
bir sistemi vardır.
try to make
Onda kendi içi
the
için yanır.
Muslims feel concerned.
Ve mümin
But
gittikçe
every
güçlenir.
time they get the harm, this is a special method of God. Muslims get stronger as they try to do harm to the
Mesela
Muslims.
şimdi de öyle ya, Avrupa'nın bir sokağını görmek, bilmem ne lokantasında yemek yedim diyor mesela.
For instance, also in are they seeing a street of a
Bilmem
European
nerede
city.
şunu içtim diyor. İşte onlar da
They
o
brag
Firavun
about
devrinin
eating in a
yemeklerini
restaurant in a
Oradaki o
European
lokantalar, Firavun
city.
devrinde de lokantalar vardı. O yemekleri, onun süksesini yapmak onlar için çok hayatıydı. Oranın
Eating in
o
the
devrin Paris'i,
there were
Londra'sı
also
diyor.
some restaurants in the time of
Oradan gitmiş
Pharaoh.
olmak onlar çok
Eating in
ağır.
the
Bir
it
an önce oraya
was the
gitmek, o
London, the
sükseyi yapmak
Paris
istiyorlar.
of that time.
Gelenekçi kafada bir
They wanted
mantıkla
to go
geliştirmişler
there
aynı zamanda.
as soon as
Tevrata
possible.
ilaveler yapıyorlar, çıkartmalar yapıyorlar. Halen de var, Tevrat'ta
And
görüyorsunuz.
they also had the
Tarif
traditionalists.
etmişsiniz. Amerika'ya, Fransa'ya, İngiltere'ye gidiyor.
They also had a
Orada aşağılanmasına rağmen
traditionalist
döndüğünde
mindset.
Amerika'da şuradaydım, şurada yemek yedim. Bu lokantaya gittim.
They went to America
Evet,
for
onların da
French.
havası o zaman oydu. Yani mesela Lüksor'da veyahut neredeyse orada bir o sarımsak, soğanlarla yapılan acurla, çeşitli baharatlar, yüzlerce çeşit baharat cinsi vardı. Ve o içkilerle yapılan yiyecekler, etli yiyecek. Onlardan yemek, onlar için çok
They had
lüks.
hundreds of
Feci şekilde
different
eziliyorlardı. Çok az bir para kazanıyorlardı. Gidip onları oralarda harcıyorlardı. Firavun sistemi.
sidekicks. They were oppressed
Firavun
there and they
gitmelerini
earned
istemediler.
very little money.
Yani bunlar
And they
iş gücünü
spent
istifade etmek
that
için.
money to the system of the Pharaoh. That's why
Zaten
Pharaoh
bağırıyor
didn't
Firavun.
want them to go. He wanted to benefit from the manpower of these people.
Zuhruf
Indeed,
suresinde
Pharaoh yelled to them, called them back.
ey kavmim, Mısır'ın mülkü ve şu
In
altında
Surat
akmakta
Az-Zukhruf,
olan nehirler benim değil mi? Yani bak mülkiyet
He
hissi ve
says,
kapitalizmin en azgın şekli uygulanan.
aren't those rivers
Müthiş bir
flowing
zenginlik
beneath
yani.
me belong to me?
Devleti ele geçirmiş,
This
devleti
is the
sömürmüş,
most rampant
halkı da sömürmüş
form
ve
of
müthiş bir zenginliğe
capitalism.
ulaşmış.